Alright, welcome ladies and gents, welcome back, welcome if you're new to the channel. Circuit de Ledenon, I think is the little accent in there. So this is a fun track once you get it figured out. It is a frustrating track until you get it figured out. If you are thinking you are going to get into a practice session before the race and learn this track, you are not. This track is going to take some practice. Blind corners, off camber corners, very easy to spin out here. It is going to take some practice. If you have driven this in the fixed setup, it is going to feel a fair bit different. The fundamentals are the same, but it is going to feel a lot different. So just be aware of that. This is going to take a little practice to get this down. So setup. This is quite a setup. So ride height is -15, so not as low as it goes. There's a number of curbs here you're going to be going over, and if you have the car too low, those curbs are going to be more disruptive. Damper compression in the front is up 3 clicks. There is a lot of downhill braking, a lot of uphill braking, just a lot of weird braking zones. So that is brought up just to keep that a little more pressure on the rear. Brake bias 57.5%. That's an individual thing. It's probably going to be maybe a little bit higher than what you're normally running. Uh, Again, a lot of uphill and downhill braking sections, so if you're locking them up too easy, just increase that brake bias. Front springs, not as low as they go, one notch up, so 26 Newton meters. That's just to promote a little more understeer, stiffen the front up a little bit, just again to keep some more weight towards the rear. Camber, you'll be happy. Not a lot of different camber changes here. If you know my channel, I fool around with the camber a bit. Just the left side here, just down one notch, just to sort of balance that side out a little bit better. 1.3 for the toe in. It is a little bit of understeer, and so that toe in is just going to help get the car turned in a little better. It's also going to get a little bit more heat in the front tires because most of the work is on the rear. So the rear, low as it goes, soft as it goes. Grip here is very hard to come by, so that is why. And camber is cranked up in the rear. I tried having this with a lower camber. The performance though was just too poor. You're gonna find this chews up the tires pretty good. The tire temps are a little high, and the usage of the tires is a little high. The last 2 laps you may find uh, the rear starts to feel a little greasy. That is because they are wearing. But if you go with a lower camber, the first 9 laps you're gonna suffer for it. So I'd rather have better grip for most of the race and have that grip start to go away towards the last lap or two. Toe in is reduced just 0.1, again just to reduce those tire temps and just keep the tire wear a little bit more reasonable. ARB is 10 mils. I think the iRacing setup has it at 15. 15 is just getting that car rotating a little bit too much for my liking. If you do find that even with this setup that the back end you're losing it just too easy, I would recommend instead of lowering the ARB, just make the rear offset -15, so the same as the front. Reduce that rake. Just lower the back end a smidge, and that will give you a little bit more understeer and keep that back end a little bit more compliant. Compression, haven't messed around with that at all. That is just left that same. 14 liters. 14 liters probably is too much. 13's probably going to do it. I think a race is going to be 14 14, 15 laps, but you may want to check that out. And the big difference, this is if you looked at the thumbnail, this is, I think, a first. The iRacing setup has this as a short stack. I tried the short stack. I really gave it a try. I normally like the short stack, but on this track it is just so easy to spin up the rear and lose the back end. I found the standard is just better. It's not so easy to spin up the rears, and also through a number of the corners on the short stack, I found it's your kind of in no man's land whether you take the corner in first gear or second gear, whereas with the standard stack, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty easy to take each corner in the gear you want to be in, whether it's first or second or what have you. So standard is what I'm going with. So you're gonna either owe me or you're gonna hate me. We'll see what happens when race day comes. So yeah, that is the setup. Track is 38 degrees. I've done a number of practice sessions. I've seen it up at 44 degrees. At 44 degrees, the track is really greasy. Big difference between 38 and 44. I think I've even seen it down to a 36. Usage is 46, so not crazy high, but not low either. So we'll go through the laps in slow-mo like normal and then run it out at full speed. So basically, coming into turn one here, looking for the Marshall box, the first cone. Just going to gently turn into this corner, just lifting a bit, and then again, just you don't want to crank the wheel too hard through this, and you don't necessarily want to get right up against the white line. This one you want to come out more mid-track. So getting tight up against that line actually means you're going to have to turn the wheel more, and turning the wheel more through this section is not a good thing. Now, if the tires are cold, probably at the end of this curb, I'm going to shift down into third gear, but once the tires are warm, then it's more middle of the track here once you get the wheel straight, shifting down into third. Now through this section here, you do not want to downshift while the wheel is turned. If you do that, that is going to under-rotate those tires, and it's going to make that back end want to step out. As well, this section, you don't want to come in here too hot. If your tires are making a lot of noise, you're sliding, and if you're sliding, you're not going forward, so watch out for that. And also, just if you come in too hot, just be very careful on the brakes. If you touch the brakes here more than just a tiny bit, that back end is going to want to step out as well. And then turning in, you want to get right up close to these curbs for this portion, and then just a little bit of throttle through this section, just to keep that back end a little compliant. Again, now the track is really off camber, so having a little bit of throttle on just helps keep that back end steady. So shifting down into second, probably about midway through this red and white curb area. And again, if you don't want to really be touching the brakes here too much. If you come in too hot, just be very careful, and just keeping a little bit of throttle on there, just to keep that back end compliant. I maybe got a little aggressive here on the curbs. I don't think you really want to get onto the white. As long as you keep a tire inside the white line here, you won't get the X. That may be just a little bit greedy on the curbs there, and then just picking up the throttle as early as possible. This section here is a bit of time at full throttle, so you do want to make sure you nail that corner well. You can lose a lot of time through here, and then just trying to straighten line it as much as possible. Up into third, so looking for this kink in the track. If there's a car in front of you, that's going to be very hard to see. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of great brake markers on this part of the track, so if there's a car in front of you, you're just going to have to rely on feel and experience about how far you are from the end of the curbs here, or the orange and white barrier. So just past that kink in the track, down into first gear, pretty hard on the brakes, and you're turning in about the end of the grass there. And then releasing the brakes. You do not want to be coming in here with a lot of steering input and the brakes on. You are going to spin if you do that. And then just letting the car roll in, picking up the throttle. It is important to get really tight up against the white line here. If you run wide through here, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a fair bit. And then picking up the throttle as early as you can, because there is another bit of straight coming up, and you can use all of the left hand side here on exit. If you came in a little hot, you can cross this white line. It won't be an X. So this one, again, no great brake markers. Basically what you're looking for is kind of, there's a crest of the track here, and braking just after you pass that crest of the track. There is a little light stand there. You can try and gauge that as well. In third gear, braking down into first, it's hard on the brakes. Now, a lot of times you would want to extend the track. I don't believe you get an X if you cross the white line, but you can get over to the white line even if there is an X there. However, I find extending the track there doesn't actually gain you time. When you get through the corner, the time you lose extending the track isn't captured coming through. So I like to be just right up against the white line. And again, it's hard braking zone, first gear, then releasing the brake. Again, if you're on the brakes hard and you're turning the wheel here, you are going to spin. This is off camber. And then getting tight up against the white line, and again picking up that throttle. If you're using the short stack, this is where the picking up the throttle really, it spins up those back tires, and that's where I find a lot of trouble, is coming through the corners, spinning up the back tires. So getting all the way over here, this is an X if you cross this white line, so watch out for that. Cut the corner here just to shorten the track a little bit. Now watch coming over the crest of the ridge. I'm a little bit more right than I would want to be. I'd want to be a little bit more riding the middle of this line. However, you can see the track turns in on you. So when you come over this hill, if you're really tight on this line, the track will move away from you, and all of a sudden you get an X. So watch out for that. Third gear, I am shifting up into fourth. If you're drafting off someone, you probably are going to be shifting up into fourth for sure. Cold tires, however, I do like to leave this in third for this section. It just it makes it a little bit more compliant, a little bit more easy coming through this corner, so you're not sliding so much. Just lifting off the throttle, you can graze that curb a little bit. The ride height isn't going to punish you too bad. And then looking for the grate here, so it's the third grate from the first one there. Now I am not quite up as high as I should be on this for this here. You want to be basically just your car on this section, so I'm about half a car length too much to the right. It is surprisingly going to cost you some time, so you do really want to be up top here. And then just as you approach this this grate here, getting on the brakes. So if you're in third, obviously you're getting down into second. If you're in fourth, you're still getting down into second. And again, just should have been a little bit higher up here on the track. You don't get an X for doing this, surprisingly, but it does really open up this corner. And then just releasing the brake. On the first lap or two, you may want to do this in first. It is, when the track tires are cold, first might be a little safer to go through there. And then just picking up the throttle. You can use a lot of the track here on exit if you cross this white line. You don't get an X, but you do extend the track, so you don't want to go really wide there, because you do have to get over to the right here. And again, blind corner, no real good markers. Getting up into third gear, basically it's kind of just as you get over the crest of the ridge, you want to turn in. You can use maybe the orange marker here on the barrier as a turn-in point. It's just going to take some feel to figure this out. So third gear, turning in, and this is really important. When you turn in, when you're practicing, do not run wide here. If you run wide here, you are going to lose a tremendous amount of time. If you turn in a little too early, you can always open the wheel up a little bit and make sure you're not going to cross the white line here. It is an X if you cross the white line, and I think if you get your tire over the curb, then it's a slowdown, and it's a painful slowdown. So watch out for that. But yeah, you want to err on the side of turning in too early because you can correct it. But if you come in too wide, you are screwed. Little bit of a lift. Ideally, probably not getting onto the curb here, just keeping the tire on the white line. The curb unsettles the car there a little bit, so probably a little bit more lift than I wanted. Once you get basically straight lined up with this, you're going to be shifting down into first gear, and then just past the end of the curbs here, you're going to be turning in. At the white end of the curb here, you want to be down into first gear by that point. So just braking, hitting down into first gear, and then just past that white marker, turning in, releasing the brakes, and again off camber corner here, lots of fun, and then just picking up the throttle gently. Again, with the short stack, this is very easy to spin out here. And then getting onto the curb, you probably don't want to get onto the white stuff here, but you do want to get on the curb, cut the corner. I turned in a little early there, I think. And then just picking up the throttle, working your way up into third. Cutting this corner, again, you don't really want to get onto the green stuff. And you do want to cut this part of the track here. Don't go over the white line. It's not hard. Just get onto the pavement there. This straightens you out for the next corner. If you follow the track through into the next section, you're going to be coming at this next corner at a bad angle. So cut that corner. Again, third gear, leaving it in third gear. If you're drafting off someone, you may want to shift up into fourth. Just be aware you're going to have to probably brake a little earlier if you're drafting off someone. Downhill section, so easy to lock them up here, and don't brake too late. You're going to run into trouble. You're going to run into that sand. So again, no real great marker, just looking for this green section, and about, I don't know, what is that, maybe two or three car lengths in front of that. Getting on the brakes, this is pretty hard braking zone, down into first gear. Now I get onto the green stuff. I found actually it's not good to get onto that green stuff. You want to line your car up basically with the curb here. If you get on the green stuff, not a big deal. It just, the car gets a little unsettled. Your braking isn't as effective, so try and keep it onto the curb. Try and keep off that green stuff. Down into first, and again through that section, you do not want to have the wheel turned. If the wheel is turned, you're going to be losing control. And same thing through here. This is a very cambered corner. However, if you're turning the wheel, I'm releasing the brake here. If you're still on the brake hard, you're going to spin. Even though this is very cambered, you have to be off the brakes. Otherwise, you're going to be spinning. And picking up the throttle nice and early, unwinding the wheel. You can use you can use this pavement here. But if you do cross the white line, I believe it's the white line, you do get an X, but not the end of the world, but not ideal. So that's a 126.5. I think that should be competitive. Hopefully it is. Hopefully the standard stack is the way to go. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you tried out the short stack and find it's better. And good luck out there. This is a watch out for the people in front of you. This is a really easy track to spin out. There's not a lot of places to actually crash your car, but it's easy to spin out. So watch the people in front of you spinning out in front of you, and just be aware the people behind you might be coming in too hot and hitting your rear. I've had that a number of times. All right, good luck out there. We'll see you next time. We'll run this out at full speed.